All right, Jules, time for the big one. Time for the striker, the number 9.
Yes.
Am I giving anything away to say that I am not surprised at all that Erling Braut Haaland is number 1 on the list?
No, I don't think you are. I think everybody would have seen this one coming.
We don't need to talk about that one. I thought it was quite a battle for second place because I was wondering, because you have the reigning Ballon d'Or, Karim Benzema.
Karim the Dream.
The star of the legendary Al-Ittihad now. We had Harry Kane.
Good. Yeah,
30-odd goals this season again. It shows that he can, he's a number 9.
In a terrible team.
Victor Osimhen misses a big chunk of the season and then delivers all the way through for Napoli. Robert Lewandowski, he's 5th on this list. I think there's a big drop-off. No, there's probably a big jump between 1 and 2, and then there's a big drop-off between 5 and 6. Any one of those guys between 2 and 5. I wouldn't have a problem if you change the order.
Yeah, that top 5, I think, almost picks itself. Is that what you say in English? Yeah, picks itself.
Well, you could debate the order, but I don't. I don't have an issue with this.
Those 5 names are currently the 5 best strikers in the world.
There's one who's far ahead of them.
Yeah, but still, those 5. Yeah.
This is where it gets interesting. Gabriel Jesus at 6. I mean,
again, don't just look at the goals. Don't just look at and not just for last season, the seasons in general. Just don't look at that. Look at everything that he does, how important he is for a team like Arsenal, for example. Even it's just the linker play, the pressing and the counter pressing, the running, the trailing back, the leadership. All of that, I think, is important.
See, my thoughts on Gabriel Jesus. I asked myself which of the guys could come after him I would have had higher, and this is where I struggle a little bit. I know, obviously, KOLO MUANI, maybe. ISAK, maybe. VLAHOVIC, if he hadn't had the kind of season he had, which now calls into doubt how strong is he mentally, which I think is why VLAHOVIC is at 9, because the skill set is obviously all there. I do think Jonathan David, at 10th, I think he could be higher on this list.
It's just that he played in a small club in a way, a big club in France, but still a small club in Europe, in the least good of the 5 big leagues, really. I think if he puts the numbers that he's put for the last 3 years in England or in Italy, he's much higher up and he's probably would be winning things.
But you would have had him higher, right?
Yeah, I think, but maybe not for this year because, again, this is so competitive. This is such a...
He scored more goals than VLAHOVIC, scored, I think, more goals than ISAK. Again, you said
it's not just about the season. So that is a great finisher. There's no doubt. There is no doubt. But VLAHOVIC can also, I think, it could be a great finisher if only he had the team that was creating chances for him and a manager that was actually wanted his team to play football, not like Max Allegri. So I hear your point, and I think at his age, 10th for Jonathan David is a good start for what looks very promising for the years to come.
I'm always wonder about the guy who is not on this list, who we're used to, and that is Cristiano Ronaldo. Would you have put him in the top 10? And do you think the voters maybe said, all right, he's gone to Saudi, had a bad World Cup, let's just draw a line under him? We prefer Randall, KOLO MUANI.
Yeah, no, he was not in my top 10. I'm not surprised he's not in the top 10 here. People might find it a bit harsh. But again, we don't look just at the season. We look overall at his contribution, what he does on the pitch, also the controversy around his attitude. That has not been the greatest for the last 18 months. And even the strongest of Cristiano Ronaldo fans, I think, would agree with us that right now he's not a top 10 striker, top 10 best strikers in the world. He's not part of that. And I think Karim Benzema might not be the next season either because of his age, maybe because he's in Saudi. Lewandowski has a couple more years, maybe. But again, this is the normal cycle of a football player.
One thing that strikes me is, we all do these by categories, but if we were to pick an overall number 1, and we've been asked this question here, you get to unpick this, Haaland or Mbappe. I have a hunch what you're going to say.
Yeah, and I'm not the most objective, but at least I put my hands up and say that I'm biased because how much I love Kylian. I also think more objectively that Mbappe is a more complete player overall. I'm not just saying if you look at Haaland as a pure goal scorer, and I think Guardiola is going to try to make it a more all-rounder. I think Kylian, and for the experience and for what happened at the World Cup, and there's the treble for Haaland, but I think Mbappe is still ahead right now.
I would lean, there's not much in it. I'm going to lean Haaland simply for the work he does off the ball, the importance of him as a team player, rather than a guy.
So they cost you the same money. You're the sporting director of a club. And you buy Haaland. They cost you the same money.
It depends. It depends who's my coach. No,
Carlo,
honestly.
Carlo is your coach.
Oh, if it's Carletto, then it's got to be Mbappe.
Yes.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.